everyone! So I got a request for a graduation makeup look in gold and bronze from an Indonesian follower. And the thing about Indonesian graduations is that it tends to be a full glam sort of affair. It's the kind of look people usually associate with the bride at weddings, but that's how we like it in Indonesia. We like it glam. So if you're not Indonesian, this probably is not a graduation party look. I would say it's more of an office party sort of look where you want to look glam, but not glam enough where people question your ability to work, because some people think that women can kick ass at more than one thing. Anyway, before we get on to the tutorial, don't forget to subscribe if you can see more of my videos, and feel free to like this video if you enjoyed it. Anyway, let's get on to the tutorial, shall we?
I forgot to show the step, but I first put primer all over my face and I'm using Emina's Pore Ranger. Okay, first of all, I'm lining my eyes with a smudgy black pencil liner. The pencil liner I'm using right now is from Makeover. It's an Indonesian brand that I'm absolutely in love with. Next, I'm using an angled brush to smudge the liner horizontally outwards into a wing, and also smudging the liner above my lash line to make sure it's a smooth line with no streaking. I'm now using a dark brown eyeshadow all over my lids, patting the shade above the liner as well. I'm going to go really high up with this, but when I open my eyes, it'll just look like I lined my eyes with a brown eyeshadow. I'm currently using Absolute New York's Icon palette, and the shade I'm using is Truffle, but a dark brown shade is pretty easy to get, and using this palette is absolutely not necessary. You can even use a contouring palette for this look. For smoother and easier blending, I'm using an eyeshadow shade close to my skin tone, Baby Blanc on this palette, above the dark brown eyeshadow block I've just made. You can use a translucent powder or powder foundation if you don't have an eyeshadow close to your skin tone. Now I'm grabbing a light brown shade, it's Heather if you're using this palette, and using a fluffy blending brush, I'm blending it above the eyeshadow block and kind of smudging it out in the process to soften all the hard edges. And then after that, I'm also going back with the dark brown shade I originally used, Truffle in this case, and blending it in between the light brown shade and the dark brown block so that the blend is extremely smooth. I basically keep going back and forth between these two shades until I have a very soft, smooth smoked eye. By now, after all the blending, you'll notice that your line is looking quite faded, and you may be wondering, why did we put a liner in the first place? And the reason for that is because the liner does help you with your eyeshadow placement, so especially if you're still new to makeup, it'll make applying the eyeshadow much easier. To bring the line back in, we're going to apply a black eyeshadow over it using the same angled brush. And while I'm applying the black eyeshadow, I'm going to smudge and blend it into the other eyeshadow a bit, just so that it's a very soft smoked line, nothing stark. It's going to look very, very subtle and sultry. Next up, I'm grabbing a metallic gold eyeshadow. I'm using Debutante in this palette, and using my fingers, I'm dabbing it in the middle of my eye look and then softening the edges by smudging it with my fingers. You can further smoothen the edges by rubbing it with a clean, fluffy blending brush. I'm now applying falsies and adding more dark brown eyeshadow where the edges of the falsies are, since the falsies I chose were pretty dramatic and they ended up overpowering the eyeshadow I placed earlier. This is why I usually prefer to use falsies first when I'm doing my eye makeup. Now I'm going to get rid of my dark circles using my color correcting palette. As you can see, the orange and cream shade in my Makeover color correcting palette is so used up because I use them every day to conceal my massive eye bags. Momhood rocks. Anyway, I mixed the two shades into a salmon shade that's right for my skin tone. If you're darker skin tone than me, you may have to use more orange, or more cream if you're a lighter skin tone than me. And I'm applying it on the dark circles under my eyes, then dabbing over it with my beauty blender to get rid of any brush strokes. I also use my beauty blender to swipe up at the bottom of my eyeshadow to neaten the bottom and create a more crisp wing. I'm now grabbing my BB cream from La Palette and I'm applying it on all the parts where I will require some coverage. I try not to apply it all over my face because I do want to leave some skin showing, since that will make my look more natural and dewy and just fresh and healthy. So I still have spots that need more concealing, so I'm using my concealer over them and then using the cushion from the BB cream to pat over it and blend out the edges. I like saving money, so instead of using a cream contour, I'm actually going to use this darker shade of concealer from the Makeover Color Correcting Palette. I'm applying this shade along my jawline at the sides of my face, going wider around my ears and narrower as I go down my chin, and blending it along my jawline and inwards. I'll be draping my cheeks, or basically contouring with blush, by using Rollover Reactions Suede and Lucy and Warda's Cheek and Lip Tint in shade number 1. I'm putting the darker blush shade at the bottom of where I would normally put my blush and the lighter one on top, and then blending them together, making sure I'm going over my nose as well. And to make sure the bottom part of the blush isn't so harsh, I'm even going back in with my foundation to blend out any harsh edges. And of course, highlighter is a must. I'm using the Balm's Mary Duminizer and applying it on the apples of my cheeks and also on the sides of my forehead where the light normally hits. Then I'm blending it out again with my beauty blender. I just noticed there's an unblended spot, so I'm going back in with my foundation and the cushion to blend it out again. Now that I'm not doing anything else underneath my eyes, I can finally add in the inner corner highlight on my lower lash line. I'm picking a light gold shade, Quartz, in this palette, and I'm only applying it in the inner half of my lower lash line. For lips, I'm using Rollover Reactions Lucy again and just applying it all over my lips. And I realized I forgot to do my brows. I'm using the brow pencil from the Feisty Chick to just quickly do my brows. And I'm pretty much done.
And that's it. Thank you so much for watching the entire thing. And if you have any tutorial requests or any questions, feel free to ask in the comment box below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. See you. Bye.